Hello, everyone. Oh, let me straighten this up just a little bit. Looks like you're on tilt. It's probably me. My wife says I'm always on tilt. Um, Kinda. Anyhow, she loves me. And she's working. Arlene, I miss you, Arlene. We need to come to California to see Arlene. Hey, Linda. Thank you guys for popping in. I've got some great things to share. Tana. Hi, Tana. Hi, Lou. Oh, some of my favorite people already hopping on at the very beginning. Hey, Jane. I got some crazy things to share. Important things to share. Marilyn. Russ. Great to see you, man. It's been a while. Brian. The man of wisdom. Yes. Sometimes, I'll kill a little bit of time here, but sometimes people see the monkey back there with the guitar. They're like, hey, Tamara, my wife just got on. This monkey. Which way do I lean? That way. They're like, how do we take you serious with the monkey behind you? Well, I just got one thing to say. Hey, we're the monkeys. We're just, no. Yeah, let me just say, it's a serious monkey. I mean, can you tell? He's serious. Like, he's serious about his music. Anyhow, that monkey was a gift. I can't remember. Anyhow, I love it. Yeah, so believe it or not, I do have some serious things to share. Hey, Perry. And just give people a few time to hop on here. Hey, Teresa. And I like to be as personal as possible. Some people say, hey, you need to get off Facebook and just go to Twitter or whatever. So I'm like, but I like Facebook. And it does cause, you got to finagle things a little bit, right? Because it's always trying to make you work at it. And but I'm trying to be smart about all of it. And Tamara says, hi, honey, I can't see the monkey. Seriously. Oh, there. Now you can. But when I get into the serious conversation, I'm going to have to get the monkey off of my shoulder and move forward. Hey, Christine, how are you doing? Yeah, you've had some crazy weather up your way. Anyhow, great stuff. So, yeah, if I were to title this, I think I did title it. Did I title it? I would title it Brett Cavanaugh and Spiritual Discernment. Now, before I actually move into this, I'm not trying to be political at all, but I am being governmental. And I think it's important that we be governmental, at least from a kingdom perspective. And let me invite you to share. We want to influence as many people on planet Earth as we possibly can. And Angel Wilson, good to see you. Let me just say a little hi here. Arpana, hi, hello, Barbara, Cheryl. Wow. Okay, so yeah. So I titled this Brett Cavanaugh Spiritual Discernment because right now we need to discern truth more than ever before. That seems to be a lot of the ever before. We need to pray more now than ever before. And there will be other ever befores after this one. But nonetheless, very important. So don't let my little bit of humor lessen the importance of what I'm about to say. Let me read you a passage of scripture, if I might. Steve Weiss is, I think, now currently in Spain. Steve, thanks for the pictures. Awesome. Anyhow, yeah, they're on a journey. They've been in Portugal, Spain, actually traveling, walking this long road. Holy smokes. Makes me want to go work out every day, that's for sure. Anyhow, beautiful things, sceneries. Okay, so I just want to say this real quick. Let me read a passage of scripture right now out of John 8:32. It says, so Jesus was saying to those who believed him, if you continue in my word, then you truly are disciples of mine, and you will know the truth, and here it is, the truth will make you free. They answered him, we are Abraham's descendants and have never been enslaved to anyone. How is it that you say that you will become free. Jesus answered, truly I say to you, everyone who commits sin is a slave to sin. The slave does not remain in the house forever. The son does remain forever. So let me just summarize this up real quick and say this, that that the truth literally does set us free. And the object is that we want to live in the house of truth. At the end of this passage, it says that the slave does not remain in the house forever. The son does. So this is about ownership. And my point is we got to be careful in this time, and I'm just saying this across the board, that we have to walk in a level of discernment like we've never walked in before and will be doing before again, because it's important that we are committed to the truth and don't become a slave to deception. And I remember I just released an article about deception. I can't remember the title, but it's on, the deception of injustice. And so sometimes it looks like injustice is winning when in fact it's the deception of injustice. But deception is nonetheless at work trying to infiltrate these United States, the world, and of course the people of God. So I think I think it's important that we recognize all of the past influences that might cloud our ability to discern truth. Some might say that they identify with those who are victims of abuse. I get it. I understand. But let me say this as careful as I can. We must always be careful not to let the pain of our past become the filter for our future. Let me say it again. We have to be careful not to allow the painful experiences of our past to become the filter for the future. And a lot of times, this is what we're seeing happening right now, I believe, in this nation. Not just in this current moment, but many times this rises up, this emotional state where people who are often disturbed by things that have happened in their past want to partner with people who appear to be at the same level they were or things they went through, and it's been because of identity. So let me just speak into this a little bit because I believe this is very important. If you always let the past govern present circumstances, then you will become vulnerable to deception again and again. And I think we're all guilty at that at one level or another. But as we mature, as we grow up into this mind of Christ, then we're able to see in a way, walk in a clarity that we have not walked in before. So now, before you write this off as maybe some people out there who will listen to this, not you, of course, but some people who will listen to this will say, well, it's easy for you to say because you don't know the injurious moments that I have had. They've been very intense. Well, while I might not share the same experience, we might not all share the same experiences of the past, I do know what it's like to lose family and friends. I have experienced betrayal. I have shared with those who have been raped. I have those who have been abused, and others who have seen those closest to them murdered. So I have either personally or have been with people who have been impacted greatly in this life and have all of these multiple reasons of looking at the future possibly from a very negative perspective. And as a result, I have witnessed, and I know many of you have too, that will listen to this. I've witnessed the personal challenge of not only allowing past tragedies, I've been challenged by not allowing past tragedies to govern present and future realities. And I think that is why it's important that in our hearts and mind that we ascend into the heavenly realms. We position ourselves in the heavenly places, seated in Christ, so that we always have this perspective of earthly activity from heaven's view. And so we are acclimating ourselves more and more to the reality of the intent of Father, to his desire for humanity. So let's just speak a little bit real quick about spiritual discernment, because it's greatly needed, because we need the agreement of it to rise up in the earth. And as we watch the current governmental stage unfold within this nation, I think we could all agree that the ability to discern truth once again is ever before us. And again, there's a lot of emotion out there that deception is playing into, trying to gather to create a momentum, but create what? Agreement. So you notice every time these things come to the forefront, you have these two sides that are developing a level of agreement, or trying to break agreement with something that is not true, or something that is, on goes the story. So it's truth and untruth seemingly, wrestling with each other. So let's look at something I think is important also, is the difference between natural and spiritual discernment. During these times of discernment, it's important to note the difference between the two, between the natural and spiritual discernment. Again, natural discernment is more often than not based on natural circumstances or present knowledge, which is often connected to past experiences. Not always, but more often than not, it is. On the other hand, spiritual discernment, which is not just a knowing, but it's a seeing, it's an understanding, requires a knowing that comes via the Spirit of God, which enables us to discern what is true. And it's like it's another way of saying we're able to discern what is righteousness. And again, because of emotion, because of experiences in life, where people are at relationally in God, and all these different things, they always play a role, because there is this level of sympathy, sometimes a false sympathy, a false identification that rises up, that wants to identify with certain peoples and circumstances, when in fact they're just deceptions of that to draw people in on an emotional level. So I'm thinking now of divine interventions, because we are coming into a season where we're going to see amazing divine interventions once again. I'm reminded of the story of Solomon, who, when two women approached him, remember having the child, and the one was saying, that's my child. She came in the night and stole the child away, and she's claiming that it's hers. And Solomon exercises an unusual level of spiritual discernment. So he's not given in to the circumstances, really the things that are being said, but he's looking beyond it. He's discerning something that isn't on the surface, so to speak. So he asks a swordsman, a soldier, to come and cut the child in two, and give half to each one, as if to settle the issue. You get half, you get. And of course, if you've read the story, we know that the response of the true mother is intense, because she's like, no, don't injure the child, let her have the child, because obviously she would rather have her child live and be apart from her than to kill her child, in essence, his purpose and destiny, so forth and so on. So Solomon recognizes the true intent of the mother, recognizes that, and therefore declares, you're the mother. But it's interesting that the other one would be willing to just let the child die. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to politics, when it comes to these intense purposes to get your agenda carried out, it's like at every cost. We don't even care if it's injurious to this. We don't care if it's injurious to, someone who is trying to just walk in their purpose and destiny. We don't care, just as long as our agenda is fulfilled. So you have to be careful of that mind, right? Now I realize that there is a righteousness about that, but again, the righteousness is based on love. It's based on healing. It's not based on sacrificing someone for the sake of this greater good. So we have to be discerning of that. I mean, on one level, it seems like a no-brainer. But again, once the atmosphere gets seeded with all of this division, it's looking for, I believe, a righteous agreement. Because it is the power of agreement once again at work here. So you have agreement that is built on deception. You have an agreement that is built on truth. And it is important for, I believe, us, the people of God, or those who are connected in, relationally with God, or walk at some degree a level of being able to discern between right and wrong, or truth or not, to be able to look at a circumstance, a situation, and say, hey, this is what I see. This is what I'm discerning. Because our discernment in that moment is based on, or determines our judgment of it. Because the word discern means to judge accordingly, or judge rightly, or in some situations, they will judge wrongly. So I have sensed, and I know many of you, I believe, have sensed the same, that this is another attempt to undermine truth. And so there's a spiritual gateway that is trying to gain access to this nation. And the cause is for a level of separation, of discerning truth at a level that we've never seen before. In other words, so that there can just be this pretense thing that comes in that clouds the perception. But I'm here to tell you, excitedly, that it will not prevail. And leaning on this reality, there might seem to be moments where there's a certain moment of momentum that the enemy gains, but don't give into it. It's an illusion. So we are escalating into a powerful agreement in the spirit. In fact, I just feel that toward many of you that will listen to this, that things that have been warring on your heart, your mind, things that have been trying to pull you into maybe just, trying to minimize your future, minimize the progression of your life, that you're not coming into an agreement. Therefore, you're breaking that spirit of deception off, and you're coming into this truth, not only leaning into this truth, but partaking of its essence to such a degree that you release this in the earth, and therefore impregnating the atmosphere, enabling others to see truth, to see the rightness of God in a way that they never have before. That is the power that you have as a son and daughter of God. So I'm really, really excited about that. In fact, let me just prophetically speak this or release this, that wisdom is about to appear on the porch of this nation and the world, exposing deception at a much higher level. Now, we've been seeing that gradually go on in this nation, but wisdom is rising on the scene. That means wisdom is here to give a level of discernment from the heavenly realms to determine what is God and what is not. And so all of these masks, these different things that the enemy tries to wear as a guise to lure people in, they're being exposed. They're being ripped off, and we begin to see them as they really are. So some people might ask then, okay, so I do kind of struggle in this area, or, sometimes I'm wondering, could this be, or could this person be wrong, or this person be lying? And, they go back and forth. So it's like, what is my alternate source for walking in this supernatural discernment rather than the natural discernment, the one that's influenced by the natural realm? And I would have to boldly, emphatically declare this: love is the key to spiritual discernment, because love sees clearly. Love is and will always be the primary filter for discerning good and evil. It is the primary foundation of practicing our spiritual senses. And I'm not talking about a love that the world gives. I'm talking about a love that comes from above. It's like Jesus saying, peace I give to you, not as the world gives. This love is an intense filter. It filters out deception, all these lies, all of these evil intents. It'll filter it out, and it will enable you to discern the intentions of God. The love of God is our lens. It's our ability to not only see present activity that is going on in the earth and measure it or discern it accordingly, but it enables us to look into the future intent of God and move in sync with his desire for this nation and the nations of the world. So we must not allow the hurtful experiences or political desperations. And I've seen many Christians do this. They become so political desperate that they cross the line. They move into areas of hate and all this stuff. And God is not going to endorse that. And in fact, it only works against the righteous movement of God rather than for him. So we must be careful not to allow these hurtful experiences or any political desperation to override our ability to discern the future intent of heaven on earth. I'm telling you, this is huge. And this is one of the reasons, I know this almost sounds like an advertisement now, but not my intent. But I wrote this book, How to Forget Unwanted Memories. And it's because I've discovered that it's a huge struggle in people's life to move forward, to advance. And so they're constantly looking through the lens of things that they went through, the pains, and they can't seem to get past it. And so I wrote this book, How to Forget Unwanted Memories, because to me, it affords someone the ability to get that behind you and move into this love realm of God and be able to discern your own life and the future within the context of God's intention and desire for you and for those around you. So as a plug, let me just say, if you haven't got the book and the workbook, you can go to our website at mticenter.com and get it now. And so it's a good thing. And let me just say this too, that I just want, sometimes I just move on to the next thing. My wife thinks that I got DDA or something like that. Maybe I'm the inventor of it or not. Anyhow, I just want to thank you. Tamara and I just want to thank all of you who at one level or another, just your prayers, your giving, and so forth. You have partnered with this ministry in many ways. In fact, even when you come on and we're doing this thing together, I just feel that camaraderie, what's that word? Camaraderie, the T in the spirit. Oh my God. Anyhow, I just feel that. And I'm so appreciative of that, because I just feel like that we're oftentimes very connected. In other words, we're sensing a lot of the same things and just writing this thing in a very kingdom way. So I want to thank you for that, because by doing so, at whatever level that you have participated with our lives, you're partnering with a glorious perspective for the future. Because those of you who know me know that's what I'm leaning. So even though I know there's bad stuff that happens, I'm a prophetic overrider. It's like we're overriding these things that are not in sync with the intent and desire of God. We're not allowing these things to take place. We're progressively moving. And the things that do seem to come through or impact at a certain level, then we're going to declare that all things work together for the good to those who love God and are called according to the purpose. That's because it's a double win. See, either way, we win. If we hit a wall, then and we keep going on, we win. The wall will be turned into a future revelation, manifestation of the intent of God for us. It will help to open up a gateway where we been there and done that, not going there anymore, and bust through. So thank you for enabling us to continue on, especially at this time. You know how weighty these things can be. Even as I speak right now, there are huge governmental things that are going on. But we need to side with heaven, release our scepters over the earth. You're seated in heavenly places. That means you're seated in a place of peace and rest. And I'm pushing this peace. If you haven't listened to that video, I was just at SRC in Seattle and spoke that word about the mystery of the peace and rest of God. And really, it's all about being enthroned in heaven, releasing your scepter over the earth, causing an alignment to take place that draws nations within the intent and desire of God. I'm all about that, and I know many of you are too. This circumstance is no different. The highest court, the Supreme Court, is subject now to be seated with righteousness at a level it has never experienced in probably 100 years. And so now we are leaning into that, and we are declaring right now that the gates of hell, the government of hell, the deception of hell, the lack of perception will not prosper. It will not overcome. But the righteousness of God, the discernment of the people of God, those that can see by the Spirit, it doesn't take the majority. It just takes a people to know that God is with us, and He's not He's not against us, and that we're coming into this glorious, glorious thing. Because right now I can feel it. Can you feel it? A positioning taking place, things being occupied on earth in a way that we've never seen before. There are gateways that are opening up in the Spirit, opening up in your home, opening up with your children, opening up with your business. I mean, gateways that are being opened up. I'm not talking little doors and I'm just talking little windows, but I'm talking gateways. Why? Because they are parallel to who we are. We are the gateways of heaven on earth. So gates being added, double gates, triple gates, quadruple gates. And that means partnering, coming into sync with other people who are of like mind, like heart. Even as we do this right now, we're like this enormous gate that is linked together. And imagine the massive flow of heaven that can come through with this agreement that we are standing in the courts of heaven right now, declaring upon the earth and declaring upon the government. So I guarantee you, let's release a guarantee. You know, when you go and you buy something or you're purchasing something, whether it's a car or whatever, there's a level of guarantee that you get with that for a certain duration. I'm telling you that there is a guarantee in the Spirit of God, not short term, but long term. It's called eternity. There is a guarantee of the Spirit that is in us right now, guaranteeing that the promises of God be fulfilled in your life, in my life, in this nation, to the degree that God has desired to bring people, all nations, to come up into this mountain of revelation of His kingdom love for the entire world. Okay, obviously I'm very excited, but I feel that we need to be, because I felt the intensity of people feeling like the ground slipping out from underneath. But it will not prevail. It will not prevail. And so I love you guys. Thank you for being here. And anyhow, you are amazing. See ya.